Ooh, and we are live. So before we get into the comic creation stuff, let's do some house cleaning a little bit. So in this month's previews, we have multiple books ready for you to order. So we've got multiple covers of Blowtorch the Middleman. This is part 1 of 2. So if you want to get all the covers, get all the covers, because I mean I'm going to get this one because this one's my favorite. We also have The Edge issue 9 and Theme of Thieves #4. So these are in previews right now. You have until January 18th to put those orders in. So don't hesitate, don't wait. Also, Grant has a new Kickstarter launching soon that you can sign up for. Let's show that. So this is going to be more of our good buddy old Beowulf. So this is Beowulf, Rendell's Curse, #1, 30-page sequential sequel prequel to the acclaimed indie comic Beowulf. This time, Beowulf and friends go up against Grendel and his mama. So gonna be fighting 2 monsters at the same time. So hit up the page. I'll put this into the show notes when the show's over, and follow it so you know when it launches. All right, so one of the things we've been talking about recently is comic book creation and some of the costs associated with it outside of printing, shipping, etc. So a lot of people probably don't know is that when you're making a comic book for retail, you need to have barcodes on the book so they can be scanned into a store's purchasing order system. That way they're able to track when a sale is made, and it's just not kind of sellable, write it down on a piece of paper and then hope that someone remembers it. So there's a few sites that you can get those barcodes from. So one of those is Barcode Talk. And I generally use both for different reasons. So you're buying barcodes. I mean, you're always trying to save money on these things. So your best bet is to get as many as you can at once. So I usually go for the big packs, 200, 500 at one time. But also keep in mind that these can be used both in the United States and internationally. So you have the UPC and the EIN included, and you get the images of the barcode, which can allow you to alter them for comic book purposes. So you want to add on those sequence numbers that come at the end, which other people still miss on this also, because that is part of the new comic standard that retail publishers are looking to adopt, that's coming from the Comics Pro. So this site explains how to get those field positions in. So you're talking system characters, publisher numbers, series codes, digits, and everything else that comes with those codes. So I can put some pictures up of mine. I'll throw those up into the show notes and everything, images of what those codes look like when you're adding sequences for issue number and then volume. Also, you have ISBN. So ISBNs are used for books. So you're talking trades, novels, and things like that. These are a lot more expensive because these ones are actually sequenced to like real world data. So when you scan it, and you're going to get that data. So these have to be updated continuously. So let's say that you want to recycle an ISBN, which you probably shouldn't do. You should probably just buy a new one. You can actually change the price on your identifiers. So again, if you're going to get these things, try to get them in bulk, because you can see like one is $125, but then if you get 10, it's $295. So you're saving some money there. But if you can if you're planning on to do a lot of novels and things like that, go for the big dog, because that's going to save you the most money. And as always, and it even says it right here, a great starter for indie publishers. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to keep in mind on this kind of stuff, but it's just kind of like a tick down of trying to save money as much as you can. So for like, I'll stop sharing. So for printing purposes, I stopped using paper and ink, and I went with a laser printer like Barcode, like for labels, because I don't have to buy ink and I don't have to have paper. I just have to buy labels. So that saves money. In the long run, because you're trying not to overspend on everything that you're doing and trying to not fall into a hole. Even before the book gets printed, you're looking at a situation where you've already overspent buying paper, buying ink, some of those other things that you could fall into a trap with this kind of stuff is packing supplies. So you have to, when you're getting a product out, you have to be able to ship it. So you don't want to put it into a cheap envelope, like made of paper, because eventually what's going to happen is that you're going to have damages. So packing supplies also include bags and boards. So as you know, that not only is that an expense, but then it's work, because now you have to put the board inside of the bag, and then put the book inside of the bag also. So just more and more cost and build up. Like I said, before you even send the book to the printer, you've accumulated some costs that have to be dealt with. So it looks like Rod is posting from two different channels on here. So appreciate that. You got the same person on two. So I mean, there's always questions. So if anybody has any questions on that, like, feel free to ask, because it's the one thing that people are going to run into when they're first starting out doing comics and they don't know what they need to do. So I don't think so. Issue 7 of the Edge was supposed to be out this week, and I don't think it's going to be out this week because of unintended shenanigans that happened probably on the end of something that I don't have any idea. The books made it to the distributor, but I don't know what happened to them after that. So let's see. Maybe they've updated the release date. Still saying January 15th, but it's not on the new release list. So new release list is here. So this is this previous week, and this is the 15th. As you can see, Comicsburg is not here. So is that the books did get to the distributor. What happened to them after that? Who knows? So hopefully on Monday I'll hear something about what happened to those books, and if they'll be coming out this week, next week, the other week, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, whenever. Issue 8 was also sent to the distributor, so hopefully these books made it there. So this is listed for February 19th. So hopefully we can get issue 7 out before February 19th, because as I said before, you've got issue 9 is in previews now. So issue 9 is the end of the Reign of Chaos storyline. Our next storyline should be kicking off in March. That's going to be God's Thunder. This one is going to be a fun one, because this allows me to kind of bring a character in that we've been kind of teasing for a while, Kyrat. And he is a destructive force. So it's going to take a lot of effort to take him out, and it's not going to be easy task for the strike team and anyone else is going to try to help them out with this guy, because he's a powerful force. So in the chat, Silver Phantom is asking how long the barcodes last. Barcodes are forever. So they don't expire. ISBNs also, they don't expire. So that's what I was saying. In some cases, they're recyclable. So, I mean, if you use an ISBN on a title, and then that title kind of like goes out of stock, or you decide that it's no longer valid anymore, you can go onto your identifiers and update it. You can update it. You can update the price, and you can assign it to a new book. So barcodes, you wouldn't want to do that. So that's why on barcodes it's more about sequences. So you're talking, let's say that your sequence is 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. That's generally going to be the new sequence, volume number, and then issue number. So that's volume 1, issue 1. So you're going to grow up for there. So it's going to go 1, 1, 1, 1 for new volume, new list, volume 1, issue 11. So like I said that I'll put up an image on one of the books to show you what those sequences are. You don't have to use those. I don't think Grant does sequences on his. I think he just puts the barcode on. But I'm a fancy guy, so I like to use fancy numbers that make no sense. So Andrew is asking, why has Pittsburgh lost so many down the stretch? I hope the Vikings beat LA Monday night. Marvin, I love the edge verse. Stay warm. I'm going to try to stay warm because it is cold here. We didn't get the snow that they were calling for, so that's a good thing because I didn't have to go out and shovel much this morning. But as for why the Pittsburghers lost so much down the stretch, I don't know. Maybe they're a bunch of losers. I don't know. Maybe there's some jabronis. I don't know. Yeah, I mean it's sports, and it's like you figure that the longer the season is, the more people are going to worn down near the end of the season. So is it injuries? Are they tired? I mean, it happens. Like someone has to win, someone has to lose, and I'm still waiting for my Steelers won the Super Bowl's prize in the mail. I haven't gotten yet, so I mean, we really don't. I'm not really worried about it. You're hoping that the Vikings beat the Rams Monday night. I mean, good luck to them. I mean, they're not playing in LA because of the fires, but did they move the game to Arizona or something? But I mean, hopefully it's a good game, and I mean, it can take people's mind off of some of the things that are going on right now. So yeah, so issue 10 should be coming out in March. In April-ish, we should be launching the Kickstarter for the Blaine action figure, which is also going to coincide with the Blaine high stakes one shot, which should also be in previews in April. Separate covers, of course. Mark just sent me a brand new cover. I'll show that after it gets colored, where we're going to introduce a new character called Rev, the Revolution. So he's kind of like a one-man fighting force that's goes to kind of areas and starts revolutions on his own for no reason, because he wants to do it. So I mean, I kind of like, when I was thinking about this character, I kind of like thought of him like how the A-Team would just show up out of nowhere and to help someone who contacted them through unknown means, because like they were underground and hidden. So how did they don't have a phone or anything where someone can call them? So maybe they like have a A-Team mailing address where you can mail a postcard to the A-Team telling you need help. So he's going to shows up in weird places and starts revolution. So as you said before, that the high stakes takes place in a fictional casino in Las Vegas, where another character, Robert Massey, has a little bit of information on the edge that no one knows how he got it. And he's kind of not really trying to sell it to the highest bidder yet, but a bunch of nefarious people are going to descend on that location to get it from him by any means. And Blaine is going to be sent in there to extract him before they get to him. So it's going to be a lot of characters, some new stuff, and a lot of action as we get Blaine into his first solo adventure. Anyone who was on the previous Kickstarter for the Volume 2 trade is going to get some special stuff in the Volume 2 trade paperback. A couple of sneak previews of a few things, not pages per se, but some covers that I haven't shown yet that are going to be kind of like the future of other one-shots for two other characters that I haven't shown. So you'll get the first peek will be in there if you're getting the trade. So once that trade is in those guys' hands, those people's hands, then I'll show those online. So, all right, any other questions, comments on anything? So like I said, we've got Grant's Kickstarter coming. Oh, we got another Kickstarter that Paige is doing. It's a crossover with a few other indie creators. So let me show that. So it's called the Beers and Bullets crossover events. Beers and Bullets is an epic crossover event between Malone, Pinpoint from Chess, and Subject Zero. So I'm not sure when this is launching, but I mean, they got 65 followers. So again, I'll put this into the show notes if anybody wants to follow and check it out. It says, get prepared for the biggest crossover event of 2025. 615 Comics, Advent Comics, and Page One Comics / Comicsburg come together to bring you Beers and Bullets. This is an epic crossover event between 3 trigger-happy characters, Malone, Pinpoint, and Subject Zero. So there's some samples there. So check that one out if you're interested in a bunch of guys shooting people and stabbing them. Apparently, someone just got their head sliced in half on there. So I mean, that's pretty violent, but you know, it's all in fun. All right. So I mean, does anybody have any other comments? So I mean, I'll probably make this a thing where I'll pop on next weekend and we can talk about more putting yourself in a hole in comic book creation. I guess that's what we'll just call the segment. Putting yourself in a hole when you don't know what your expenditures are going to be. And I don't want people to fall into the trap that I fell into when I first got started, because I didn't know what the best path was. So went out and bought a bunch of paper and ink, printing up labels and everything. So not only are you talking about labels and ink, I mean, you can't just take a piece of paper and stick it to an envelope, right? So you need tape. So tape is another expense that I don't think that people realize. So a lot of this stuff I just generally do the subscribe and save on Amazon. Get it when it's cheap, and then do those bulk discounts. So you know, if you have a certain amount of stuff that's coming to and you're subscribe and save in the same month, you save another 15% on top of, I think it's like 5 or 10% at the bottom. So just bulking up as much stuff as you can, because you know you're going to need that stuff. You're going to need envelopes. You're going to need Gemini packages or something similar. You're going to need tape. You're going to need markers. So I mean, we'll all get into that, and then we can get into like the con survival stuff. So that's the kind of stuff you're going to take to cons when you're doing. Besides just your books, you need other things. You need a lot of people don't carry cash anymore. You don't want to kind of cost yourself a sale by saying, hey, there's an ATM in the front of the convention. There might not be an ATM there. So you need a credit card scanner. So you need a Zettle or a Square or something of that nature. And if you're going to have one of those things, you got to make sure that you have internet. You probably won't have Wi-Fi at these places, because like you'll have a good signal at the beginning of the day, and then as people start coming and connecting, that Wi-Fi signal is going to drop. So you're talking about something on your phone, so a hotspot, or if you're using your phone. But I suggest like having a tablet for that kind of stuff, because you don't want to keep handing someone your personal device and them kind of putting their fingerprints all over it, or their dirty hands, because now you're talking about cleaning your screen all day long. If you're going to have oh yeah, I mean that's what you want to avoid, because now you're talking about, so what if you wouldn't have come back? I mean, that person just lost a sale because they weren't prepared to for business. I mean, the chances of someone having cash is going to be small, and even if they do, they might want to save that cash for something else. So being able to take a card, but having Cash App or Venmo or some other way to take a digital payment is going to be something that you're going to need. So that's like con survival. So I mean, I guess that's another segment is the whole, and then the con survival, because like as a creator and as someone who's moving product, you have to be prepared to take a sale any way. I mean, also keep in mind that if people don't have cards anymore, now you're talking about Apple Pay, Google Pay, and those other things. Like most of the card scanners like Square and Zettle have an option for Venmo and Apple Pay. None of them have Cash App yet. So I mean, could be something coming, but you can have a cash app card. But I mean, preparation is part of this, and that you always have to be ready for that thing that someone's going to say. Hey, are you paying with cash or card? They say card, and you're like, yeah, ATM. Is there an ATM? Is the ATM working? Is there any money in the ATM? So I mean, if someone pops up with a bag of quarters and nickels, are you going to be prepared for that? Because that could happen too. Do you have a cash drawer? I mean, make sure that you have things on hand for any situation that you might get into, that so you don't miss a sale. Silver Phantom, you did come back? You came back the next day with cash, or did he have a card machine ready to go? So that could be a good question. Like if the person said, "Hey, I'll have my card reader tomorrow if you want to come back." I mean, okay, I'm not going to be here tomorrow, so I mean, you kind of lost a sale there. Also, using a tablet. Yeah. So I mean, that's just something you have to be prepared for. You can't just say or wait until the next day to tell somebody, "Hey, go to the ATM machine that may not exist and get some cash out," because I mean, then did that person have change? So now you're in another situation. Can the person? So you come back with cash, and you're spending $20, and you hand them $100 bill. Do they have $80 in cash? Who knows? So again, another thing to be prepared for is cash, change to cash out with, card readers, Cash App, Venmo, all those things that you have to have it. You just never know what someone is going to pop up with for sale. Another thing is that if you're going to be at these shows, and you want to capture email addresses, so you want to start building an email list, I suggest a tablet for that. I use a form that I built in an app. So that way that the person can enter their information in themselves, because I had situations where I was writing down their email addresses and they were writing down the email addresses. And the problem is that if I misspelled their email, or if I can't read their handwriting, then I just lost emails. So having something electronic on hand where someone can type the thing in themselves, and hopefully they don't mistype it, and then you can get that email address, because that could be a sale. You might not have made a sale at the show. You may be able to take that email address and communicate with them, and then get a sale later. So you're saying that so you signed up for an email list once and never heard from them again. Okay. I mean, that could happen too, where some people are a little overzealous with that kind of stuff. Like, I took down the email and you never did anything with it. I mean, when I do that, that goes right into my Substack. So, and I do like a Substack newsletter, maybe 2, 3, 4 times a month. And then it also scales up. And then for our Comicsburg newsletter, so then we make sure that we're not only communicating through one channel, but then we can communicate through our Comicsburg channel, because most of the time when I send something from my newsletter, it's stuff about the Edge and then a little background on some other Comicsburg stuff. But then the Comicsburg one can be built up to be everything that's going on in that month, and we don't kind of have to send more than one. The only reason why I do send a Substack, because I get an idea on something. I just like to send stuff out for fun sometimes, or just because I felt like sending something. So that's it. Is that communication is a key, and you have to make sure that you're able to communicate back with that person who bought the product. One thing also to keep in mind about when you're doing comic creation is having a credits page that has your contacts in it. So your social media is somewhere on that credits page. So you've got the information on the publisher, you got the information on the creators in the book, and then near the bottom, you're talking about your Facebook, your Blue Sky, your Twitter or X or whatever, or your Instagram or any of those other social media channels, to make sure that if that person enjoyed what they read, they can find out how to get to your stuff. You don't have to put your email address in there. I would suggest putting up a contact form on your website. So put your website in there so that people can get back to you on things. So just constant communication channels, because You can make a sale at a con, and that person has no way to communicate back with you if they want to get more books. They could say, "Oh yeah, you had issues 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, are there any more? And if there are, I want them." So, I mean, if you've got more books coming, I mean, that person will know. You can let them know that if you're in previews or any other way, like if you do mass ordering or if you do direct to comic shops, just make sure that you're getting that next sale, because you never know conventions if you're going to make a lifelong fan, because I mean that person could become your new best buddy of buying everything that you put out. So keep it up with the keep ups. All right. Any other comments, questions? Cool. Yeah, so like I said, that we'll just keep this going in this fashion of the trip ups with creation, con survival, updates on what's coming from the Edge and Comicsburg. I think it's going to be an exciting year for us because we got so much stuff coming. Like we got con season, I believe, starts next month. We'll be at a show in Helltown. It's a brewery. I think it's about 45 minutes from Pittsburgh. So that'll be our first show of the year. I'll detail out all the other shows we got coming on. Maybe I'll just put up a spreadsheet. That way that I can just throw it into the notes, and then you guys can click on it to see where we're going to be at this year. Oh, yeah, no problem. I mean, the one thing that I always want to do is share information that I have that I didn't have when I first started. I started back in the dark ages on America Online, and so I didn't. This information was not readily available to me, so I want to make sure that everyone else has it. Up in the air right now. So I did get a creator badge for C2E2, and I'm waiting to get information on the table. Even if I don't get a table, since I have that creator badge, I probably will be there at the show. Probably all 3 days. Just walking around, getting an idea of what goes on at C2. I mean, I've been trying to get into that show for a while, but never can get a table. I can always get a creator badge without a table. So I would think that those things would go hand in hand. Like, oh, you got a creator badge, so we want you the table at the show. But yeah, no. So hopefully this year. So it's in April, so like 3 months away. And I think that they have another show before C2, Emerald City or something like that. And they probably won't be telling people that they have tables until after that, which is kind of a little slow, because like I like to plan ahead on these kind of things, because now I've got to deal with transportation and lodging and how I'm going to get there. More than likely, I'll probably do the train, because it's probably a little easier to transport books and stuff on the train than it is to fly. But it's Chicago, so it's not that long. Like if we were going to Florida, I actually looked at MegaCon and then looked at the travel time on train. It was like 33 hours. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. Nobody wants to be on no train for over a day. So C2E2 right now is yes with a question mark, but I don't know if I'll be tabling. So if I get a table, I'll be there for sure. If I don't get a table, I'm like 60-40 on C2E2. So hopefully I get a table. Beyond that, of course, we'll be doing Three Rivers here in June. We'll be at Heroes again this year. So 3 years in a row at Heroes. That's been a really good show for us. So we'll be hitting Heroes again. Beyond that, it's other smaller shows. So we'll be doing Du Bois Con with Christian. So he does that twice a year. So we'll be at both shows. Beyond that, it's other smaller shows. So I mean, like I said, I'll put up a spreadsheet that'll show where we're going to be at, so everyone knows, and then you can come and hit me up at those shows and get your book signed, which we do for free. And because it's all about con survival, I will make sure I have a marker ready to go to sign all the books. And I've got different color ones because not all our covers are the same. So I have to do like red, gold, sometimes silver, and then of course the regular black. All right. If nobody else has any other questions, I'm going to stop here, and I'll see you guys next week.